Under the shadow of the Vietnam War, many shocking secrets are hidden. This conflict not only claimed countless innocent lives, but also left a deep moral scar. Today, we will explore together the 10 most terrifying discoveries of the Vietnam War, revealing the astonishing truths forgotten by history. Number 10. Agent Orange. During the Vietnam War, the U.S. military launched Operation Ranch Hand to weaken the Viet Cong's jungle advantage. They used Agent Orange defoliants on massive scale. Approved by President Kennedy in 1961, 76 million liters of deadly Agent Orange, a torrent of hell, were poured onto the land of Vietnam. It didn't just cover the vast jungles of South Vietnam. It even affected neighboring Laos and Cambodia in some areas. Agent Orange's use seemed to produce quick results, but in reality, it caused immeasurable damage to the ecosystem and human health. 42% of Agent Orange was used to attack rice paddies. The rice paddies in Quang Ngai Province, Vietnam, were almost entirely destroyed, leading to hundreds of thousands of people suffering from hunger due to food shortages. Agent Orange contains highly toxic substances such as dioxins. These substances are extremely persistent and bioaccumulative. They remain in the environment and human bodies for decades. This has led to countless Vietnamese people suffering from various cancers and birth defects. American and South Korean soldiers who were exposed to Agent Orange and their descendants have also suffered greatly. Number 9. Insect weapons. The Viet Cong employed an unexpected and chilling tactic: insect weapons. They cleverly used scorpions, spiders, ants, and rats as tools against American soldiers, delivering a psychological and physiological double blow. For example, they would place them along the paths where American troops marched, spreading insects or animals on people, or releasing insects around U.S. military camps to create panic and chaos. Even worse, the Viet Cong used killer bees to attack U.S. troops. Once provoked, these wasps would swarm their enemies, posing a great threat and causing significant harm. This tactic, although it played a certain role in the war, but what it reflects is the war's blatant trampling of human ethics and biosecurity. Number 8. War orphans. Vietnam War not only took the lives of millions of soldiers, and the lives of innocent civilians also fueled a massive orphan crisis. It is estimated that during the war, approximately 87.19 million children lost their parents, becoming orphans. Of these orphans, only a very small number were fortunate enough to receive aid from government and private organizations. Most people, however, wandered in the social unrest after the war. Others survived by begging or doing odd jobs. Some even turned to crime. Among the orphans, Vietnamese soldiers, children, and Vietnamese American offspring were particularly striking. They were a direct product of the war, and also represented the war's impact on families. Vivid evidence of the destruction of ethics and social order. Their tragic fate and arduous lives silently accuse the cruelty and ruthlessness of war. Number 7. The most terrifying prison. Located on Phu Quoc Island in Vietnamese waters, hides a prison built by French colonists, which during the Vietnam War was used by the American and South Vietnamese armies. Used as a terrifying prison for the imprisonment and torture of Viet Cong political prisoners. This barbed wire prison, known as the Tiger Cage, had rudimentary and terrifying internal facilities. The prisoners suffered inhumane treatment within. After brutal torture, they were confined to cramped, overcrowded cages filled with spikes, living in endless pain and despair. Today, this prison site has been transformed into a museum, a warning to the world to never forget the cruelty of war, to respect and uphold the basic human rights and dignity of every individual. Number 6. Napalm bomb. It was used by the U.S. military in the Vietnam War, a highly destructive weapon. Its burning temperature reaches 1,200 to 1,500 degrees Celsius. It can instantly devour everything, and the toxic residue left after burning will cause long-term and irreversible damage to the human body. The U.S. military in the Vietnam War, approximately 40,000 tons of napalm were dropped. This resulted in hundreds of villages and vast stretches of jungle and farmland being completely burned. In 1980, the United Nations adopted the Convention on Prohibitions or Restrictions on the Use of Certain Conventional Weapons. This convention regulates such weapons, specifically including napalm bombs, a powerful response to the immense humanitarian disaster. Number 5. My Lai Village Daegu killing, March 16, 1968. In My Lai Village, Vietnam, the U.S. military committed a horrific mass murder. Hundreds of unarmed civilians, including the elderly, women, and children, were mercilessly killed. Exposure of the My Lai massacre. It revealed the collapse of the U.S. military's moral compass in the Vietnam War. It sparked global questioning and criticism of the ethics of war and U.S. military actions. This massacre not only inflicted irreparable harm on the Vietnamese people, but also became a landmark event in American history, symbolizing a moral decline. Number 4. The human scent detector. To track Viet Cong soldiers in the dense jungle, the U.S. military developed and used human scent detectors, attempting to locate enemy hiding places by detecting the smell of human sweat and urine. However, in actual combat, the effectiveness of a human scent detector was affected by strong winds and excessive noise, high sensitivity, and the complexity of the jungle environment, among other limiting factors, prevented the expected results from being achieved. Nevertheless, the U.S. military continues to explore relentlessly, attempting to combine multiple sensor technologies to optimize battlefield reconnaissance methods. Number 3. Military dogs in the Vietnam War. The U.S. military deployed approximately 5,000 military dogs. These loyal and brave four-legged comrades, with their excellent instincts and training, played a crucial role in tracking, guarding, searching for mines, and locating fallen soldiers. They were vital in these areas, saving the lives of approximately 10,000 U.S. soldiers. However, after the war, most military dogs were abandoned or euthanized. Their tragic fates became another heartbreaking element of the war. Number 2. The tunnel warfare. The Viet Cong took full advantage of Vietnam's unique geographical conditions to build a crisscrossing network of tunnels, tens of thousands of kilometers in total length. These tunnels, it served not only as a concealed passage for Viet Cong soldiers and a temporary base, but also housed residential areas, medical stations, and supply rooms. This made it difficult for the U.S. military, despite their air superiority, to track down the Viet Cong. Despite the U.S. military's attempts to destroy the tunnels using various methods, their complex design and layout meant the U.S. military could not completely solve this problem. These authentic historical sites today stand as a unique testament to history, showing the wisdom and resilience of the Vietnamese people during the arduous war. The wisdom and resilience they displayed. Number 1. Tiger Force. Tiger Force was an elite unit established by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. However, they became infamous for their brutal treatment of civilians in the occupied zone. In July 1967, the unit committed heinous crimes in a Vietnamese mountain village, indiscriminately slaughtering many innocent civilians. They even used chemical agents, such as airborne lactation stimulants, the inhumane torture of female soldiers. This event was only made public 30 years later, becoming a prime example of the moral decay of the United States during the Vietnam War, and sparking worldwide reflection on the ethics of war and military discipline.